Hello world, hello United States. I'm a sovereign citizen of the Arizona. I am the artist Jack Loudon. That's not my real name, that's my artist name. I am a messenger from and for God. Is there a God? Yes, there is. Definitely a God. Is there a devil? Yes, there is. There's definitely a devil. I've had a lot of hardships through my life, and I've begged for signs from God many times. And on September of 2004, God sent me a sign. It was an angel. It's in the right-hand corner of this picture. And it was amazing to me when I first loaded it into my computer because it was not on my viewfinder. And many strange things has happened ever since then. A wise man once told me, the more you know, the less you'll tell. And there's a lot to that right there. But I've had an open mind my entire life. I've been a praxeologist most of my life. I've studied people, all kinds of people, left and right. And you know what? They're a lot alike, no matter where you come from. People are people. Technology is the only thing that's different. Life works in threes, and it works in reverse. And I'm going to get to that, and I'm going to show you how it does work in reverse many times. Since the Renaissance, God has given us many things, many gifts. Look at the technology since then. In the last 500-600 years, it's just been amazing. Basically because we stopped fearing God and we started patting ourselves on the back. And look what's happened ever since. But if you go back, you got history, recorded history of about 10,000 years. And there's a lot of years that are missing. Back when I was in my 20s, I went to see the curator with a friend of mine at the Natural History Museum in Los Angeles. And he told us that they had discovered 270 million year old rock, Cretaceous, slate rock. And lo and behold, when they cracked open a layer of that slate rock, there were some dinosaur prints with Homo sapien prints right behind it. And not Homo erectus, not Neanderthal, Homo sapien. So where did the other 990,000 years go? That's something to ponder. Anyways, everything in this world is just that. It's just a thing. It's a test. We are here to see if we can get through that test. The first painting I'm going to show you is New Renaissance. And it's a painting of post-apocalyptic variables where there is an infinity sphere from God, impenetrable, and it's to show the humans that they screwed up big time. And it's like the New Jerusalem. But in the meantime, I'm going to tell you about, I'm also a retired musician, and I did put out a CD. It's called The Melting Pot, and it contains Philosopher-Rock, and the band is called Time Bout. And the first song I'm going to play for you, showing you the artwork, New Renaissance, is Isn't It Funny? So, what did you think of that song? Did you like it? Did you not like it? It's true though, isn't it? Everything we say and do turns out to be our embarrassment too. Anyways, looking at these scripts, I have to have these scripts to keep on track. Mother Teresa said life is a game and life is a test. Well, Jack Loudon says life is an amusement park, and if you don't have a good time, it's your own damn fault. I think that that Christ said that as well. The biggest lie ever told, and trust me, we have to put up with a lot. About 80% of everything you hear is a lie. That's pretty accurate in my estimation. But the biggest lie is when you're 2, 3 years old, you fall down and scratch your knee, whatever, and your mom or your dad, they hug you and they tell you, oh, it's all right, Johnny, everything's going to be all right. There's the biggest lie. Faith, some have a lot, some have little, some have none at all. Karma is something that we all have, and it has to be balanced. Now, in about 2007, it was around 3 years after the angel, I had a dream where I died, and I fell flat on my face, and I went straight through the earth and out the other side, and I was going at a speed that was just insurmountable. I was just like beyond the speed of light. And I ended up in this place to where I was surrounded by light, and there was this voice, and the voice was talking in a language I've never heard before. And I understood it. It was so strange to me. And the voice was telling me that I was sent here to do something and I hadn't done it yet and I needed to do it. And that I would be understanding what I needed to do down the road. And I was whisked back into my body, and I woke up shuddering, just shaking, and just this utter feeling of unbelievableness. And I remembered most of it. To this day, I remembered most of it. But we are all programmed, basically. And the biggest example I can give to you about how life works in reverse is the simple fact that if you are addicted to something, your addiction tells you basically that your strongest point is your weakness. There's one very, very strong reverse. Now, I have been sent here by God. I was born an artist. In kindergarten, I was doing things that the teachers couldn't understand. And I've been an artist my entire life. And basically, I've been at war with mankind. And I am an attitude reinforcement technician, irritancy systematic technology. I used to have it as attitude reinforcement technician inside systematic technology, but for this video, I think irritancy is the perfect term because that definition is the quality of being irritating. And I'm going to probably irritate quite a few of you in this video. So, in the reverse, people know what evil is. The only problem is they pronounce it evil. They don't say evil. If you just listen to people say evil, they say evil. And then there's the devil that this equates to. But what's the reverse? If you reverse all these, you get live, love, and lived. Isn't that something? I find that quite amazing. the one thing that the soul consists of, this consists of three parts. The first part is the present day. The second part is past lives. And the third part is the karma built up in those past lives. Now, the spirit wants to be balanced in karma, more to the good than the bad. That's the only way that you can get to the second heaven. And by the way, there are three heavens, or three levels of heaven. We are all programmed, per se. I'm talking about when you're young and you get your hands into something and your mama smacks your hand. She says, no, no, no. She's describing life to you. Well, how old were you when you figured out that your life is nothing but descriptions of everybody else? How many original thoughts have you had, or do you have per day? Think about that. Original thoughts, something that no one else has ever thought of. And what do you think you stand as far as that goes? I know that I tried my best to have original thoughts, and mostly through acronyms because they're fun. Anyways, 80% lies from everyone else, because everyone else is programmed the same way. And we were going to touch on that, but we're going to go into the second painting. It's called Destruction of the Temple Foretold. And it was basically my first spiritual experience is when I was going to the Otis Art Institute and I was studying under George de Groot, taking fine life drawing. And by the way, he thought I was Hieronymus Bosch come back to life. Could have been. Who knows? I certainly paint like him. I do thought-provoking surrealism. And this is something that you ponder. When you look at my artwork, you're going to be pondering a lot.
What did you do? Do you have regret? Then I go back to school.
The next song that will be played along with Destruction of the Temple Foretold is Determined Message to Come, featuring my wife and her best friend doing the background vocals along with me, and features also Lewis on flute, and I hope you enjoy it. Now then, going back to the incredible programming process or incredible learning process, however you want to think about it, it's amazing how facts become fiction and fiction become facts. That's just a relative way of things happening and how they progress. Now, the incredible learning process is basically for you to try to break through, and breaking through is not that easy. Once you start looking for the reverse and realize things work in threes, you're on your way, and you'll finally find yourself learning how to laugh better than you've ever laughed before. It's relative to it, and the best is yet to come. With this incredible learning process, I've done a painting called The Melting Pot, and that's coming up. But through all these artworks I've done throughout my life, the one that I was tasked with the most was the three heavens. And the first heaven is basically where everybody goes to. 98% of us goes to the first heaven. And it's heaven's path of the forgiven. And the forgiven is basically that your sins have been forgiven. Christ died on the cross for us to make sure that our sins wouldn't be held against us. But I'm going to caution you on one thing. Even though Christ died on the cross in a bloody, painful death, he left out one thing. God still is going to judge us for our discretions. In other words, the choices we've made. Hopefully we've made a lot more good choices than bad. That's the object right there. The second heaven is a place of learning. It's great institutions and incredible universities, basically, and their one objective is to teach you how to be in the presence of God. And the third painting is the house of God. Now, the house of God is amazing. The reward, if you reach the house of God, is unspeakable. You'll be able to do many, many things, anything you really want to do. All God wants is your love for Him and your love for everything in all His creations. So, without further ado, I'm going to be doing this song for you called The Melting Pot, and the painting is called The Melting Pot. Now in our next installment, you're going to find these 5-panel paintings with the 2 in the middle being the angelic script translation. The paintings in their frames are 18 feet wide and 4 feet high. The first, second, and third heaven. There is over 1,100 characters of angelic script put into the paintings, and they basically give you the clues. You have to decipher it for yourself. There's close to 100 waterfalls throughout the paintings. It's just a very, very beautiful, beautiful concept and picture to look at. And the one thing that I would want to ask you to do in the future is dream and imagine what heaven would be like. Not enough of us do that. We have to think about the reward, not the persecution of this cursed world. The end object is to get the reward, and the reward is basically unspeakable. So I hope to see you in the next installment, and that'll be coming up in 2 weeks. Thank you for your time. God bless you. Hello world, hello United States. Welcome back to the second installment of The Angel and the Artist. I am still a sovereign citizen of the Arizona. I am the artist Jack Loudon. I got the name Loudon from my mother and father. My mom's name was Lou and my dad's name was Don. So after my father passed away in 1996, after my mother, I started using Loudon to honor them. They kept me going through my whole career and nurtured my art since I was 6 years old, basically. I am going to get into dream visions on this installment, but before I start the dream visions, I'm going to let you experience 3 types of spiritual experiences I had before all this started happening after the angel. For instance, when I was 8 years old, I was doing pretty good artwork, and my dad was complimenting me one day, and I told him that, "Pops, I'm gonna change the world someday." And he told me that I couldn't change the world. That was just too big of a thing to ask for. But I said to him, "If I don't think that way, who will?" And just to give you an idea of what kind of artwork I was doing, I did this when I was 8 years old. It was my first acrylic painting. My mother really liked the cover of this Life magazine. I think this was a Life magazine. And I wanted to please her, so I did it, and it just looks pretty much like it on the cover of Life magazine. I think it was 1964 or 65, and 8 years old. Second spiritual experience I had is when I had an out-of-body experience due to fear, I think, because I went out on a date. I was like 16 years old or 17. I can't really remember. But I took my date home, and her father was a policeman. And I was scared to death because I got her home late. And I virtually left my body, and I was floating over my head, about maybe 6 feet above my head, talking to her mother. And it freaked me out completely, and I zoomed back into my body, and I just freaked out pretty much, and I said, I gotta go, and I just, that's just something I just couldn't forget, leaving your body. How weird. And the third spiritual experience I had was when I had finished the destruction of the temple foretold. I was going to hang it up above my hearth by my fireplace. And when I signed my name to it, and I was finished with the painting, and I was going to hang it up, and I hung it up, and when I was jumping down off the hearth, I accidentally knocked my Bible over. And this is my Bible. It's a little leather library from New York, and it's all the individual books with leather bindings. And it's a Bible of the original tongues. It's not a King James version. But when this Bible hit the floor, it cracked the top of it like you see right here. And a couple of books fell out, and one book in particular was Mark, and it opened up to chapter 13 And chapter 13 of Mark was the destruction of the temple foretold. And I picked up the little book and I started reading it, and it described my painting perfectly. And it freaked me out. I was just, my God, this is my painting, you know? And I just felt like I was floating a foot above the ground, you know? And that feeling lasted for like a half an hour. I just couldn't believe it. And I put the book back and closed the book, the Bible, and I haven't read it ever since. It just freaked me out. I plan on reading this Bible someday, but right now I still can't do it to this day, and I was like 19 years old at the time. So now, one thing I'm going to tell you about is I've done a lot of paintings in my life, and I've only got so many to show you during these installments because I gave a lot of them away. Shame on me. Anyways, back to my first dream vision that came 3 years after I took the picture of the angel.
Well, I've been through the day, come again, sleep big night.